Do you believe America should be represented by those who undermine its very foundations? It's a question we need to ask ourselves in light of the controversy surrounding Representative Ilhan Omar's removal from the Foreign Affairs Committee, a woman who not long ago called the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Some people did something really? How can we ignore that? But it's not just that one comment. Over the years, she has made multiple remarks that question America's moral standing and its role in the world.
This debate today, it's about who gets to be an American. What opinions do we have to be counted as Americans? This is what this debate is about, Madam Speaker. There is this idea that you are a suspect if you are an immigrant, or if you are from certain parts of the world, or a certain skin tone, or a Muslim. It is no accident that members of the Republican Party accused the first Black president, Barack Obama, of being a secret Muslim. It is no
Today, we're talking about something crucial: the integrity of America's leadership on the global stage. Is it okay for someone who makes anti-American comments to be tasked with representing us in foreign policy discussions? We're diving into why Representative Omar's removal is more than just political gamesmanship, and why this is a decision that was long overdue. Stick around, this is important. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments below. I want to hear what you think about this whole situation. Let's jump in.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield 2 minutes to the gentlelady from the great state of New York, Nicole Malliotakis.
The gentlewoman from New York is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee, but I feel like all the reasons have not just yet been stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well. I've been in that committee room where the representative equates Israel and the United States to Hamas and the Taliban. Absolutely unacceptable for a member of that committee. I've also heard the representative equate that it is the United States' fault that there is turmoil in Venezuela, that is not because of the oppressive socialist and communism that has spread throughout Central and South America, in Venezuela at the hands of the Maduro and Hugo Chavez regimes. That is unacceptable. And as a New York representative, to hear the representative belittle, to try to diminish the worst terrorist attack on United States soil on September 11, 2001, as some people did something, that is unacceptable as well. And I hold the same standard for this side of the aisle that I do the other, because when another colleague on my side said something about 9/11, I also voted to have her removed from the Education Committee because I thought that was inappropriate. So I'm being consistent here, and I hope my colleagues will do the same to show that this is about consistency and accountability, because we should not have an individual with those views on the committee that is tasked with representing our country and our Congress to foreign nations. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back.
Georgia seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A.1 of Rule 9, I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows.
Recognized.
Censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Whereas elected members of Congress take an oath to bear true faith and allegiance to the United States without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Whereas Representative Ilhan Omar took an oath of allegiance to the United States upon becoming a citizen, declaring, "I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate." Whereas George Washington warned in his farewell address of 1796 to guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism, and further declared citizens by birth or choice of a common country, that country has a right to concentrate your affections. The name of American, which belongs to you in your national capacity, must always exalt the just pride of patriotism more than any appellation derived from local discriminations. Whereas these statements by Representative Omar clearly violate the oath she took as an elected member of Congress to defend and protect the United States Constitution. Whereas Representative Omar has exhibited the treasonous tendencies George Washington warned about, and her actions must be condemned by all members of Congress who adhere to the oath they took upon assuming office. And whereas by openly admitting her efforts to advance Somalia's interest using her position as a United States representative, Representative Omar has revealed herself to be a foreign agent acting on behalf of a foreign government. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilhan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilhan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilhan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee of the Budget and the Committee on Education.
All right, you've seen the clip. Now, let's get into it. I'm sure many of you are thinking, why all the fuss over one committee position? But let me tell you, this is so much bigger than just one person. It's about who gets to represent our nation's values and who has the authority to speak for America on the current world stage. Now, let's talk about why this committee matters so much. The Foreign Affairs Committee isn't some random committee you get assigned to. It's the committee that represents America's voice on the global stage. Members of this committee help shape our relations with our allies and our adversaries. They make decisions that affect the security, economy, and the moral authority of the United States." Unquote. Take a second to think about that. If our representatives on this committee are undermining our values, how can we expect the rest of the world to take us seriously? It's one thing to disagree with EWSPS policy. We all know that's part of being in a democracy. But it's another thing entirely to disrespect our country's foundations and the people who died defending it. Now, let's break this down. What exactly has Representative Ilhan Omar said that's causing such an uproar? Well, it's not just one slip-up here and there. This is a pattern of behavior that can't be ignored. For starters, there's that infamous "some people did something" comment about the 9/11 attacks. As a New Yorker, I can tell you that hit hard. Thousands of Americans, many of them from my home state, died that day. To reduce it to "some people did something" was not only disrespectful but downright insulting. It undermines the very gravity of that horrific event. And you know what? This isn't just about personal feelings. This is about honoring the memory of those who perished and protecting the dignity of those still grieving. And then there's her comments about Israel and the U.S. She's compared Israel to Hamas and the Taliban, two terrorist organizations that are sworn enemies of democracy. How can someone who equates our allies with terrorist organizations be trusted to handle foreign policy for this country? Now, we all know there's freedom of speech in this country. But here's the thing: with that freedom comes responsibility. When you take an oath to defend the Constitution, you're committing to putting America first, not just when it's convenient, but always. And that's where Representative Omar has crossed the line. Her rhetoric isn't just about differing opinions. It's about undermining America's standing in the world. This isn't the kind of message we want coming from someone in a position of power, especially when it affects national security. Take her comments on Venezuela. She suggested the U.S. is responsible for the chaos in Venezuela, not the oppressive, tyrannical regimes of Hugo Chavez and Nicolás Maduro. No, according to Omar, the U.S. is to blame. What message does that send to the world? It's a dangerous distortion of reality. It lets regimes that are responsible for the suffering of their people off the hook, while painting the U.S. as the villain. I've heard some people argue that this is all just political retribution, but let's be clear. This is about consistency. If we're holding one side accountable, we need to hold both sides to the same standards. That's what the American people deserve. Just last year, we saw Republicans call out one of their own for making inappropriate comments about 9/11. And you know what? They voted to remove that member from a committee. That's consistency. That's standing up for what's right, not just what's convenient for your political team. Now, if Democrats want to play the game of selective outrage, then we have a bigger problem on our hands. This isn't about political revenge. It's about ensuring that those representing our country in the most important international discussions actually respect the values this nation was built on. Here's the thing that really bothers me about this whole situation. When you allow people to spew anti-American rhetoric without consequences, you weaken America's moral authority. Our credibility in the world takes a hit. Countries that look to us for leadership, our allies, our partners, they start to question whether we truly stand for the values we claim to uphold. How can we expect the world to trust us on issues of global security, human rights, and international law when one of our representatives is making statements that directly contradict the very principles we claim to champion? Removing Representative Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee isn't about silencing dissent or limiting free speech. It's about restoring integrity to one of the most important roles in Congress. It's about ensuring that the people who represent us on the world stage are fully committed to defending America's interests and values. For too long, we've let people undermine the very principles that make this country great. This decision is a clear message we will no longer tolerate anti-American rhetoric in positions of power. It's time to restore accountability to Washington. So, what do you think? Was this the right move for America? Is it about patriotism or political theater? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, if you care about this country, about standing up for our values, and about restoring integrity to our leadership, then make your voice heard. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, God bless America.